In our last deep dive of I Want Second Opinion, we unpacked those 5 eye myths people somehow still believe. But today I have a very personal confession to make.
Oh, I can't wait for this.
Yeah, well, by the time I finish my surgical notes for the day, and then, try to catch up on some reading in the evening, my eyes feel incredibly heavy.
Right, just completely exhausted.
Exactly. They feel so dry, almost like there's actual sand in them. And I'm sitting there wondering, is this just old age creeping in, or is staring at my phone actually causing permanent damage to my retinas?
It is such a common fear. And honestly, if you are listening to this right now, chances are you felt that exact same gritty, burning sensation at the end of a long day.
It's awful.
It really is. But let me reassure you right out of the gate. You aren't just aging faster, and you definitely aren't permanently burning out your retinas.
Okay, well, that is a huge relief.
Yeah, what you and millions of others are experiencing is a massive modern epidemic. We call it computer vision syndrome or digital eye strain.
Okay, so if it's an epidemic, what's actually causing it?
Hmm.
Because I think the fear is always that screens are emitting some kind of toxic radiation.
Right, and that's the myth. The shocking truth here isn't about the light coming out of the screen at all.
Wait, really?
Not at all. It's about what you stop doing when you look at it. You are completely forgetting to perform one of the most basic biological functions of the human body.
Which is what?
You are forgetting to blink.
Come on, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm blinking. I'm sitting there reading patient charts. I'm awake. My eyes are clearly functioning.
You think you are, but the clinical data tells a completely different story. When we look at a screen, literally any screen, be it a phone, a tablet, or a monitor, our blink rate plummets by 60 to 70%.
Wait, 60 to 70%? That's not just a slight decrease. That's a massive physiological drop.
It is a total system failure. Normally, we blink about 15 to 20 times a minute.
Right.
But you put a screen in front of a human, and that drops to maybe 5 to 7 times a minute. Your eye is literally drying out while you stare at that glowing rectangle. Yeah, you're basically holding your eyelids open for these unnatural, prolonged stretches of time. But the good news for you, and for everyone listening who feels that exact same evening fatigue, is that by the end of this deep dive, we are going to show you how to fix this in exactly 20 seconds.
I love a 20-second fix. But before we get to the solution, as a doctor, I really need to understand the underlying mechanics.
Sure, absolutely.
Because if we know we aren't blinking, what is actually happening physically on the surface of the eye? Like, why do I get that awful sandy feeling?
Well, to understand the sandy feeling, we have to talk about your tear film. Most people think tears are just salt water that comes out when we cry.
Yeah, just water.
Exactly. But your tear film is actually a highly complex 3-layer biological shield.
Right. There's a mucus layer, an aqueous layer, and an oil layer, if I remember my anatomy correctly.
Look at you. Yes, exactly. The innermost mucin layer acts like glue to stick the tears to the eye. The middle aqueous layer is the watery part that nourishes the cornea.
Okay, makes sense.
But the most crucial part for screen users is the outermost lipid layer, the oil layer. That oil prevents the watery layer underneath from evaporating into the air.
So it's like putting a layer of olive oil over a pot of water so it doesn't boil off.
That is a perfect analogy. Now think of that entire 3-layer tear film like a windshield wiper on a car.
Okay.
Every single time you blink, your eyelid acts as the wiper. It sweeps across the surface, squeezing out a tiny bit of oil from the glands in your eyelids, spreading a perfectly smooth, fresh layer of moisture.
Which keeps everything clear and lubricated.
Right. It keeps the optics clear and the tissue nourished.
And when I stare at a screen,
The windshield wiper just stops dead in its tracks.
so the engine is running, but the wipers are just off.
Exactly. And because the eye is exposed to the air for so long, and that lipid layer isn't being replenished by a blink, that precious moisture simply evaporates.
Leaving it totally dry.
You're left with a dry, raw, exposed cornea. That's the gritty, irritated sensation you're feeling. It's the physical friction of a dry, microscopic eyelid dragging over a dry eyeball.
Okay, but playing devil's advocate here for a second. If my eyes are actively burning at 9 p.m., aren't these screens doing permanent damage?
I know it feels like it.
Well, yeah, because as an orthopedic surgeon, when I see chronic inflammation or a patient complains of a joint constantly burning, it usually implies long-term wear and tear. Are you absolutely sure I'm not ruining my vision long-term?
I am absolutely sure. And this is a crucial point for everyone listening to internalize so you can stop stressing. Ordinary screen use has not been shown to cause permanent damage to healthy adult eyes.
Really? Not at all.
None. It doesn't cause macular degeneration. It doesn't cause cataracts.
So it's a software issue, basically, not a hardware failure.
Precisely. What we are dealing with is an evolutionary mismatch. Human eyes were designed by thousands of years of evolution to be dynamic.
Right, looking around constantly.
We are built to constantly scan the horizon for predators, track moving objects, and, shift our focus from near to far. We were absolutely not designed to stare continuously at a bright, fixed object 12 inches from our face for 8, 10, or 12 hours a day.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Form follows function, and we've completely hijacked the function.
Exactly. We're taking a highly dynamic optical instrument and forcing it to be completely static.
But if we are talking about what's actually causing the discomfort, we have to talk about the light itself.
The blue light debate.
Yes. Everyone and their mother is selling blue light blocking glasses right now. You see them heavily targeted on social media. You see them in the pharmacy. Are they the ultimate biological shield against digital eye strain?
Here is the truth bomb that might frustrate a lot of people who just spent $80 on a pair of glasses.
Oh.
Blue light from your screen is not what is causing your digital eye strain.
Wait, really? Not at all.
Current medical evidence just doesn't support the idea that normal blue light exposure from consumer screens damages healthy eyes, or that those trendy glasses reliably relieve the physical strain you're feeling.
Wait, hold on. If it isn't the blue light piercing my retinas and frying my eyes, what is the real culprit? Because my eyes physically ache. It's a deep, dull pain.
The real culprit is a muscle.
A muscle.
Yeah, most people forget the eye is packed with tiny muscles. Inside your eye, there's a specific one called the ciliary muscle. It's the focusing muscle.
Okay.
Its entire job is to change the shape of your lens so you can see things clearly up close.
Right, accommodation.
Exactly. When you look at something far away, that muscle is perfectly relaxed. The lens is flat.
Makes sense.
But when you bring your phone or your laptop close to your face, that ciliary muscle has to tightly contract to bulge the lens so you can focus. When you stare at a screen for 2 hours without looking away, you are locking that tiny muscle in one violently contracted position.
Oh, wow. Okay, think about that from an orthopedic standpoint. Imagine taking a 20-pound dumbbell, doing a bicep curl exactly halfway up to a 90-degree angle, and just holding it there for 3 hours.
Your arm would be trembling.
It would be screaming in agony. The lactic acid buildup, the lack of blood flow, the sheer mechanical cramping. I mean, it would be brutal. No physical therapist would ever tell you to hold an isometric contraction for hours.
And yet, that is exactly what you are doing to your eyes every single day. You wouldn't blame the neon lighting in the gym for your arm hurting, right?
Right, you'd blame the fact that you haven't let go of the dumbbell.
Exactly. Your eye's focusing muscle is doing the exact same thing. It is cramping from sustained, unreleased tension.
So that deep ache behind the eyes after a long Zoom call is literally a muscle cramp.
Yes, it is. And to make matters worse, screens often act as a stress test that exposes pre-existing vision problems we've been stubbornly ignoring.
I see this all the time in the clinic. A patient thinks their mattress is causing their back pain, but really they've had underlying spinal stenosis for years, and the mattress just triggered it.
Yes, exactly the same concept.
What kind of underlying eye problems are we talking about here?
The classic one is early presbyopia.
Okay, the age-related stuff.
Yeah, that's the natural age-related stiffening of a lens that starts to hit us in our 40s. The lens loses its flexibility. It goes from feeling like a soft water balloon to a rigid piece of rubber.
Ouch.
Because the lens is stiffer, that ciliary muscle, our dumbbell lifter, has to work 10 times harder to bend it for near vision.
So if you're in your mid-40s and staring at a screen, that muscle's working overtime compared to a 20-year-old.
Exactly. Or maybe you have a mild, uncorrected astigmatism or a slightly outdated glasses prescription.
So the system is already stressed.
Right. You throw in environmental factors like sitting right under a blowing air conditioning vent in the office, working in low humidity, or just being exhausted, and the screen just pushes your already struggling, overworked eyes over the edge.
Okay, so if we've identified the twin culprits, the cramping dumbbell muscle inside the eye and the evaporating windshield wipers on the outside, how do we fix it?
I'm glad you asked.
How do we put a dumbbell down and turn the wipers back on?
This is where we get to the core prescription. It is the absolute masterclass of digital ergonomics, and it's totally free. It's known as the 20-20-20 rule.
Okay, the 20-20-20 rule.
It is incredibly simple, but if you actually do it, it is highly effective. Here is how it works. Every 20 minutes, you need to look 20 feet away for 20 seconds.
Let me make sure the listener really grasps the mechanics of this because it sounds almost too simple to be real medicine. Setting a timer for every 20 minutes to break the habit makes sense. But looking 20 feet away, does that distance specifically physically reset the lens inside the eye?
It absolutely does. 20 feet, or about 6 meters, is the optical infinity point for the human eye.
Optical infinity.
Yeah. By shifting your focus from a screen that's 2 feet away to something 20 feet away, like looking out a window or all the way down a long hallway, you are finally letting that internal focusing muscle go completely slack.
You're putting the dumbbell down on the floor.
Exactly. You're dropping the dumbbell.
That is fascinating. So the 20 seconds isn't just an arbitrary, catchy number so it rhymes with the rest of the bill.
Not at all. It takes roughly 20 seconds for that ciliary muscle spasm to fully release and for the tissues to completely relax. If you only look away for 3 seconds, the muscle doesn't have time to let go of the tension.
Okay, so that fixes the muscle cramp. But what about the dry eye? What about the windshield wipers?
Right, the surface issue. While you are taking those 20 seconds to look down the hall, there is a crucial blink hack you need to add. I want you to do deliberate, slow, complete blinks.
What do you mean by complete blinks? Like squeezing my eyes shut as hard as I can?
No, definitely not squeezing, just gently closing them fully. When we concentrate heavily on a screen, even when we do blink, we tend to do these rapid, incomplete flutters. The upper eyelid only goes halfway down.
So the bottom half of the cornea stays completely exposed.
Exactly. The oil is never dragged all the way to the bottom. A complete blink means the upper lid fully touches the lower lid. You pause for a fraction of a second and open. That completely recoats the eye with a fresh, thick tear film.
I love that. Now, if we connect this to the rest of the body, and I have to step in here as a spine surgeon, whenever I hear patients complain about digital eye strain, it is almost always paired with digital body strain.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, they come in complaining of tension headaches, a stiff neck, rounded shoulders. Everything is hunched forward, drawn into the gravity of that screen.
They are completely intertwined. You literally cannot fix the eyes without fixing the posture. The physical setup of your workstation dictates how hard your eyes have to work.
So if you're listening and sitting at your desk right now, what are the exact ergonomic hacks you need to implement? Where should this screen physically be in space?
Rule number 1 is the arm's length rule. Your screen should be about 50 to 70 centimeters away from your face. That's roughly 20 to 28 inches.
No.
The easiest way to check this right now, reach your arm straight out. If you can touch your monitor with your fingertips, it is sitting too close. Push it back.
A simple physical test. I like that. What about height? Because I see so many people working on laptops flat on a kitchen table.
That's the worst.
It is. They're looking straight down, which puts around 60 pounds of relative pressure on the cervical spine. It completely destroys the neck.
Height is incredibly critical for both the cervical spine and the eyes. The optimal position is having the center of the screen about 15 to 20 degrees below your natural eye level.
Wait, below? Most people think it should be exactly straight on, parallel with the floor.
Below is actually better for the eyes. And here is the amazing physiological reason why. When you look slightly down, your upper eyelid naturally droops and covers more of your eyeball.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, less exposed surface area means significantly less tear evaporation.
Oh, that is brilliant. It's like closing the window blinds halfway to keep the heat out. Just angling your gaze slightly downward physically protects the tear film.
Exactly. If you look straight ahead, or worse, slightly up at a monitor that's mounted too high, your eyes are wide open, maximizing the evaporation rate.
What about the lighting? You mentioned the gym lighting earlier, but screen brightness has to play a huge role in the fatigue, right?
It does. The golden rule of lighting is balance. The goal is to match your screen brightness to the ambient light in the surrounding room.
So no working in the dark.
No. If you are sitting in a pitch black room with a blazing bright screen, your eyes are constantly fighting to adjust to that harsh contrast. Your pupils are constantly spasming, trying to figure out how much light to let in.
And on the flip side, what about working with a bright window directly behind your monitor?
That shoots glare directly into your eyes. You're going to reflexively squint, which causes massive facial and ocular fatigue. Eliminate the direct glare, use indirect lighting, and balance the brightness.
Okay, so desktops and laptops are one thing because we have control over our desk environment. But let's talk about the real addiction we all share. What about the smartphones we hold inches from our faces, usually while lying in bed?
Yeah, smartphones are notoriously worse for eye strain. First of all, the text is tiny. That forces us to narrow our eyes, crane our necks forward, and focus at incredibly short distances. Remember the dumbbell analogy.
Yeah. The isometric hold.
Holding a phone 6 inches from your face is like lifting an even heavier dumbbell. The ciliary muscle has to contract to its absolute maximum limit to focus that close.
So what's the fix?
The fix there is immediate, and you can do it today. Go into your phone settings, increase the default font size, and physically force yourself to hold the device further away from your face.
That's a great actionable tip. Now, what about kids? Because if my fully formed adult eyes are hurting from this, I see toddlers and teenagers glued to these iPads for hours. Parents are terrified they're ruining their kids' eyes permanently. Is a developing eye more at risk?
The message for parents is to seek balance, not to operate out of fear. Yes, kids absolutely need outdoor time. And there is a massive conversation in ophthalmology right now about the global rise in childhood myopia or nearsightedness.
Is that directly from the screens?
It's from prolonged near work, which includes screens, but also reading books for hours, combined with a lack of outdoor sunlight.
Why does sunlight matter?
Sunlight triggers dopamine release in the retina, which actually prevents the eyeball from growing too long. So screen time indoors robs them of that sunlight.
Yeah.
But if you notice a child rubbing their eyes constantly, sitting unusually close to the television, or suddenly complaining of headaches or avoiding reading, don't just write it off as too much screen time.
What could be?
Those are classic signs of an uncorrected refractive error. They might literally just need glasses to see properly. Screens often just reveal the vision problem that was already there. Take them to an optometrist.
That's a really vital distinction. Now, jumping back to the bedroom for a second, we debunked blue light as the cause of physical eye strain. But it does have another profound biological effect, doesn't it?
Yes, it definitely does. While blue light doesn't cause the physical muscle ache in your eye, it heavily influences your brain's alertness and your internal body clock, the circadian rhythm.
How does that work?
You have special light sensors in your retina called intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells.
That is a mouthful.
It is, but all you need to know is that these special sensors don't help you see shapes or colors. They just detect blue light and talk directly to your brain's master clock.
Okay, so when you look at a screen at night,
When you blast your eyes with a bright screen late at night, those sensors tell the pineal gland in your brain, hey, the sun is still up, halt the melatonin production. It displaces and delays your sleep.
and from a systemic health perspective, poor sleep amplifies absolutely everything. When you are sleep deprived, your body's pain tolerance drops significantly.
Yes.
So those daily tension headaches, the neck stiffness, and that ocular discomfort are going to feel 10 times worse the next day, simply because your nervous system hasn't had the chance to recover.
Exactly. It becomes a vicious cycle. You stare at the phone, your eyes hurt, the blue light suppresses your melatonin, you sleep poorly, and the next day your eyes hurt even more because you're exhausted.
So we've established that most of this digital strain is a mechanical issue. It's harmless long-term. It's a muscle cramp in a dry surface, and it's incredibly annoying.
Right.
But as medical professionals, we have to talk about red flags.
Yeah.
How does a listener tell the difference between normal, everyday computer fatigue and a serious medical condition? Like, when do they need to drop everything and go see an eye doctor immediately?
This is so important because you don't want to mask a real problem with the 20-20-20 rule. There are specific symptoms that you should absolutely never blame on a screen.
What's the first one?
First, if you experience a sudden loss of vision in one or both eyes or sudden double vision, that is an emergency.
Right. Sudden vision loss is not from a long Zoom meeting.
No, it's not. Second, severe eye pain or marked painful sensitivity to light. A dull ache is one thing, but sharp, severe pain is a huge red flag.
Okay, got it. What else?
Third, if your eye is significantly red or producing a mucus discharge, that's an infection or severe inflammation, not screen time. And finally, if you see flashes of light, a sudden curtain-like shadow creeping across your field of vision, or a massive sudden increase in floaters, those can be signs of retinal detachment.
So the overarching takeaway here is if you adjust your workstation, you push the screen to arm's length, you angle it down, you master the 20-20-20 rule, and you're still having significant daily discomfort. Don't just log online and buy a second pair of blue light glasses. Go get a proper comprehensive eye exam.
Exactly. Your eyes are trying to tell you something. Listen to them.
This has been incredibly clarifying. We've gone from the microscopic tear film layers all the way to the cervical spine. So to summarize the verdict for everyone listening, you do not need to spend your hard-earned money on expensive blue light glasses to fix eye strain.
You?
What you actually need is a simple timer, proper sitting posture, and a window to look out of.
It really is that straightforward. Save your money, drop the internal dumbbell, and turn those windshield wipers back on.
This is a habit that can save your vision from decades of strain. I'm starting my 20-20-20 habit today.
If your eyes feel tired right now, look 20 feet away for 20 seconds. Then come back and hit the subscribe button for more medical truths.
We'll see you in the next deep dive of I Want Second Opinion, where we will discuss eye exercises. Fact versus fiction. But before we go, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to mull over. We've given you all the biological and physical tools to fix the strain today. But before you even have to apply the 20-20-20 rule, ask yourself a very simple psychological question the next time you unlock your phone. Am I using this screen right now intentionally, or am I just checking it out of pure habit? Because fixing your eyes might just start with fixing your habits.